Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Hello?
we can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, what does this imply? This implies that some percentages of Nigerian populace will not be allowed to vote in this coming election due to criminal activities. There is no way we can do it. Some areas in the central, in the northwest, in the central part, in the north central, in the northwest, in the northeast, in the southeast. So some communities, some people will not be able to vote. And this is also a very sorry case. What do we, or what percentage of Nigerians now will not be allowed to vote to exercise their civic duty? We also want to consider that. Now, let me be rounding up now as I start to talk about the benefit of electing the right type of leadership. My brothers and sisters, the main reason for election is to get the right leadership that will ensure good governance for the people. And what is good governance? What is good governance? Johnson defines good governance as legitimate, accountable, and effective ways of obtaining and using public power and resources in the pursuit of widely accepted social goals. This definition links good governance with the rule of law, transparency, participation, responsiveness, safety, accountability, and embodies partnership between the state and society and among the cities. We have so much problem in this nation that if we don't use our voters card as a power and we vote wrongly and we bring the same set of people into the position of power, sorry, we are going to suffer for it. My brothers and sisters, life is very, very short. Can you afford to spend allow anybody to use another 8 years? 8 years of your life shading the shadows. So we want patriotic, visionary leadership, people that will
We should all mute our speaker, please. Let us all about mute our speakers. You are disturbing.
I think the network again.
I can't hear the speaker again, please.
You can't hear the speaker?
Yes, I cannot hear the speaker anymore, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I think you have.
Yes, I can hear you audibly right now.
You have to go back from the benefits, sir, so that we can get you, sir.
Okay. I
Yes,
talk
sir.
of the benefit of electing the right type of leadership. The main reason for election is to get the right leadership that will ensure good governance for the people. What is good governance? Johnson, a social scientist, defined good governance as a legitimate, accountable, and effective ways of obtaining and using public power and resources in the pursuit of widely accepted social goals. This definition links good governance with the rule of law, transparency, participation, responsiveness, safety, accountability, and embodies partnership between the state and the society and among the citizens. These are things that are not there. The Nigerian government have not been completely transparent. We want transparency. There is no full participation The government is in the hand of elites. That is how it has been since independence in 1960. When will there be free participation of all in the governance of this nation? We all belong to Nigeria. So let Nigerians actually enjoy the Nigerians, let them enjoy themselves. Responsiveness. When we want a government that be responsive to the people, the government that will consider the masses. We don't have hospitals. When they are sick, they go abroad. When the masses are sick, where do they go? Mortuaries, sudden death, problems, unemployment. We have said our youth have finished the university. A lot of them are roaming the streets. A lot of them are being manipulated. A graduate being a gate man, a graduate being a doctor, being a driver. Our brain, this has brought a lot of brain drain. The medical sector is almost dried up. Our doctors are leaving the country as free as they can. Safety, insecurity all over the zones. No good Nigerian now can sleep with all the eyes closed. We want a government that will be up and doing whatever it takes to appease these bandits, these secessionists, all those that are involved in this crime and violence. Whatever it will take, let the government do it. And if it will not, let them use the big stick on them. This is a nation. We will not allow anybody to hold us to ransom. What about accountability? What about accountability? Somebody will hold a public office within how many months? It's so rich. Look at the National Assembly. They work, they collect so much money. When they also retire. I was told they have retirement and the severance allowance. And this practice whereby a governor will rule a state, we ruin, I'm not saying rule, we ruin a state, R-U-I-N, and then leave that place and now walk to National Assembly to go and continue ruining the nation. That should stop. It should stop. And again, lastly, I want us to talk about love. Because of this insecurity, because of all these problems emanating from the government, there is no trust. I bet any one of you now, if you see an Hausa man around you, you will not be happy. You will be afraid of him. If an Hausa man sees an Igbo man or Yoruba man, the same thing. There is no love again. So all these things, we must make sure that we really go out and get somebody, don't forget, a visionary, patriotic, confident and bold president is what we need this time around. And I pray and we hope that God will give, not for us, but because of our posterity. That is our youth. The Nigerian youth, they are about 80%, about 80% of the population. We cannot afford to waste them. So, brethren, I could have said much, but because of time constraint. So let me conclude. In conclusion, the 2023 general election is the 7th of its kind in a row. We discussed the role the stakeholders must play in order to get free, fair, credible, and inclusive election. Some of the challenges facing our nations were also highlighted, like unemployment, poverty, corruption, insecurity, and so on and so forth. It was also pointed out that some part of this country may not be able to participate in this 2023 general election because of the activities of terrorists, bandits, and secessionists. We also deposited that only the election of visionary and patriotic leaders that can bring the much needed solution into Nigeria during the next political dispensation will be the solution to our problem. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Air Commodore Bamidele Taiwo, for this wonderful presentation. We would have loved to take questions and comments, but because of our time, we'll just quickly want to call the next speaker, Mr. Ibirunke Kolawole. After then, Ambassador Roy will be speaking to us. Mr. Idirunke, your on, sir. Mr. Idirunke, we can't hear you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate Kind Gesture for giving me this lecture to talk about. The lecture has come at the right time and is token that we can give to our nation. I know that whatever we are discussing here, in one way or the other, will go to different places, whereby it can go as a network to others. I really appreciate the brain behind this lecture. The topic, so that not to take our time, says that 2023, what hope for Nigeria? The 2023 elections is far approaching. Let me start by what Barack Obama said about hope. He said, and I quote, "Hope is not blind optimism. It is not ignoring the enormity of the task ahead or the roadblock that stand on our path. It is not sitting on the sidelines or sulking from a fight. Hope is that thing inside us that insists, despite all evidence to the contrary, that something better awaits us. If we have the courage to reach for it and to work for it and to fight for it, hope is the belief that destiny will not be written for us, but by us, by the men and women who are not content to settle for world as it is, who have the courage to remark the world as it should be. That is the word of Barack Obama. I think with this, we can relate it to what is happening in Nigeria. We have seen a lot of elections, promises, and we don't have anything to show for it. To me, this 2023 election would be a different. So I want to let us know that 2023 election is a catalyst for national security. It's a catalyst for national security. And what do I mean by this? If you can do the security assessment and analysis of our country as it is today, you will all agree with me. Gradually, the 2023 election, no doubt, is unifying the country, thanks to hope all Nigerians have in it. The high rate of dissidents and separatist agitators that exist in the north, where we have Boko Haram, banditry, and the south, where we have IPOB and Yoruba Nation, are relatively decimated. You can see even those who have sympathy for these terrorists and separatist agitation have resented in their own way. It's no more pronounced like we used to have it 4 or 5 months ago. So though this is not saying that we don't have some pockets of adherence for such cause and agitation. However, their potency and inimical activities have reduced drastically. Even some religious predictions and analysts the election will not hold have been rebuffed as a result of strong will by Nigerians to have 2023 election. This is a fact. Everybody wants this election. Without doubt, relative peace and security have restored to Nigeria as the country is gearing towards 2023 election. If you can look around us, where is Yoruba Nation today? The much dreaded banditries, kidnapping, and the rest, you can agree with me because of the hope that Nigerians have in this 2023 election. They've all almost gone into extinction. So, without doubt, there are key factors that brings about this hope, which I want us to discuss. For instance, the formidability of major actors in 2023 election. Though we have many candidates for the position of president from different parties, careful analysis of the major contenders, among whom are Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Rabiu Kwankwaso, is in no order, shows that Nigeria is blessed with great leaders, as any of these contenders have great and laudable ideas to take the country to an enviable position. We can see it without prejudice or sentiment. Whenever you see their manifestos, we see their rallies, wherever they have the opportunity to talk at the town hall meeting and the rest, you can see the vibrancy. You can see the laudable ideas. You can see the way they are talking. You can see that this set of people, they actually prepared. This is what is giving Nigeria hope. And that is why we don't have the semantic of saying, does our vote count? Just let us leave them. We are not going to vote. So you don't see the apathy that we normally have for elections. Everybody wants to be involved. Everybody wants to key in, because we all know now that the only way we can have good country, the only way we can have a nation called our home is by participation in politics. Every country has its challenge. As of today in America, if you look at the rate of gun shots, it's alarming. In short, within this 1 month of 2023, we have over 1,400 plus of gun casualties in America. So if we are facing one thing or the other in Nigeria, it's not peculiar to us alone. The economic challenges is not peculiar to Nigeria alone. Of recent, even the people in Europe, they are crying the equivalent amount of liter of gas, that is PMS, which we call petrol here, in Europe, is almost 1,300, 1,400. And every country is crying because the world is in economic crisis. So we should not look at it from the point of the fact that Nigeria is boiling. It's not only Nigeria alone, it's the whole world. But the hope we have, which we are discussing about this 2023 election, is that we all want to be involved. So this assumption is not premised on this assumption is premised on their fantastic achievements in their various former positions of authority. Also, this group, the major contenders now in this coming election. Also, this group is fast in socio-political economy, which is right approach our country is yearning for. If you are good in politics and you are not good in economics, they will just mess you up. If you are good in economics on how to make Nigeria vibrant, but you are not good in politics, they will still mess you up. But this crop of people who are the major contenders in this election, they have this socio-political economic approach that we are all yearning for. Their emergence as top contenders gives Nigerians the ample opportunities to choose their leader. It is not a condition of choosing between the devil and a deep sea. Rather, choice becomes sweet and of varieties. That is why you see everybody on like what we used to have in the former elections. At least we have had about 6, this is the 7th general election since the inception of democracy in Nigeria. And since 1999 to date, we have uninterrupted democracy. So other factors that we are looking that the new, this 2023 election is giving us is even the post-election violence. Post-election violence is another source of concern in every general election. US in the last election witnessed this after the defeat of President Donald Trump, same as Guinea-Conakry and other countries. This shows that both advanced and developing nations are susceptible to post-election violence. However, in the case of Nigeria, 2023 election in Nigerian post-election may be peaceful. This is based on some factors. Among these factors are: 1, INEC transparency and show of impartiality. The independence of INEC has really come to manifest. As of today, no party has challenged or alleged the INEC for involvement in party politics or romance with any political parties. This is the hope we have as a country in this coming election. Also, the activities of President Buhari, by not showing too much support for his party, almost sitting on the fence approach by PMB, has down the tension of seeing the incumbent of using the state apparatus and resources to win the election at all costs. You can see his body language. These are the things that normally cause post-election violence, but we have gone beyond that now. The INEC impartiality, the incumbent approach to this election, that even people are speculating that it's not in tandem with his party, is a way to have peaceful post-election. That is just it. Sine qua non the political atmosphere of this country will have heated up and become a veritable tool in the hands of enemies of the state. If not for these activities of both INEC and the president. Another factors that will give us hope in this forthcoming election is the geographical spread of supporters, which will usher in veritable records of election process and result in another impetus to achieving a peaceful post-election environment. You can see from the north to the south, from the west to the east, all the political parties, they have their sizable numbers of followers, so that there will be on a spot assessment of the election. So these are the hope that we have in this forthcoming election. 2023 election will serve as avalanche to democratic development in Nigeria. The general election will further cement democracy in Nigeria. There is serious political awareness and consciousness among the citizens. The rates at which Nigeria registered and willing to participate in the election is overwhelming. You will all agree with me on this. The hope sorry, I will soon round up, please. The hope we are all expecting in year 2023 is a function of all. Politicians, followers, governments, and sundry. But before I conclude, let me leave us with the speech of Lee Kuan Yew. You may not, I will post the video after the whole thing so that you have it in my distance. But the summary of what he said is what I've just said now, that it takes everybody to have a good governance. The masses, the government, the legislatures, the judiciary, and every parastatals of government, non-state actors and state actors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ibironke. That was a wonderful presentation. Because of our time, we want to quickly invite Ambassador Roy to take on the podium. Ambassador Roy, please.
Thank you, Pastor Olumide. Thank you for this opportunity. I believe my audio is clear enough.
Very clear.
I need you to confirm. Okay.
Very clear.
And when I saw the invite and I saw 15 minutes, and I saw the rider saying Sting Academy. So I want to believe that we are just allowed to give a sting like a bee and run away. So I hope that our audience are able to write down some things which they will communicate to you later as questions, because I'll be running through two certain type of catchment of understanding that I have grown through over years of observing our electoral processes and our communities, how we commune. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is we have certain group of people in Nigeria that I have classified as manipulators. You know, this set of people, they can be rich, they can be poor, they have formed groups, they have formed intelligentsia that have used the media, the online gazettes, the physical contacts, associations, institutes, they have been able to penetrate a pattern that they can quickly be able to say, Ambassador Roy is a Muslim, even if I'm a Christian, or Ambassador Roy is a Christian, he's lying that he's a Muslim, you know, and a lot of things will be thrown on the social media, a lot of things will be thrown on air, and people will be manipulated towards a certain psychological concept, you know, and this thing, you know, most of us that do it, we are paid to do it. Some of us are members of a clique that needs to push out a kind of ideology. And before you know, everybody is trying to believe such ideology. And the whole civility is pulled out and a cloak is set upon the eyes of the people. And they are manipulated towards any kind of traction that is in the benefit and favor of those that are in the lead of the manipulation. So a lot of things going on now in Nigeria, globally, towards our election. You need to go and begin to do fact check. You will see a broadcast we just shoot out now, and people will be saying, ew, ew, ew. And you just, before the next 3-4 seconds, you see a fact check coming out to say it has been debunked, it is fake news, it is this. But how many people can get the feedback of a fake news? Now, as I speak to you, I can still get, I'm doing a survey, and there are still 1 or 2 people in the definite city of Lagos that have shown the new Naira note, and they are telling me they are not aware that there is a new Naira note in circulation. You know, so our orientation agency need to counter this kind of manipulations. Our central government orientation agency, because everybody taxpayers' money goes to that point. So the good, the bad, the ugly should be entertained by the agency, and the best should be pushed out for the benefit of the people. Now, you know, we're going to get another group of people I call the manipulated. Now, the manipulated are sometimes willful, sometimes against their will. Now, we know that every politician that fights towards creating havoc and violence, they refuse to allow their children to partake, you know, but they could influence participation from certain groups of people that are under a cloak of ideology. Let me use some of those groups. You may not like it, but cultism in our schools today, primary school have embraced it, secondary schools have embraced it, universities have embraced it. Now, cultism is already a cloak over the eyes of people that could be manipulated. So if we are trying to look at manipulation, cultism is one aspect where the dawn of a cult group can say, all of us are going to the left. And it's difficult for membership of such cult groups to say, we are not or we are. Once you are loyal to that cult group, you have been initiated to that cult group, you find yourself flowing to the general dictates of that cult group, and you become conscripted into the community of the manipulated. Then we have those that are on religious ideology. You know, there are religious ideology that are extreme, both in the Christian and in the Muslim, both in Islam and in Christianity. We know that there are extreme ideology in religion. So we are always careful when we meet people that have been conscripted into extreme ideologies, because they are among the manipulated community. They can be twisted to any direction at any time and will be used and can be used to cause mayhem, havoc, and community disturbance. So we are careful to note all of these manipulated groups. Another manipulated groups that you can see is unionism. All this road transport union, all these different kinds of union, even the labor union itself was an epic of glory for the underprivileged in those days. In those days, I can write it, and I'm happy to see that labor comes out to fight for teachers' welfare, to fight for abuse by foreign industries against the local content laborers. You know, so labor was a union that was enviable, and the government was always scared of labor. But definitely, it has fallen under the manipulated. You know, so many other bodies, religious bodies, Christian bodies, so many of them became under the cloak of the manipulated. Then the last group of people I want to address here are the victims. Now, the victims are those that are not among the manipulators. They are not among the manipulated. I'm sorry, Sting Security Academy is giving us 15 minutes, so I'm trying to package all of these things like a bundle of sliced bread. So let our gentleman open the pack and begin to remove it one at a time. I'm sure he will give you a recording. You know, so the victims are those that are not among the manipulators and not among the manipulated. They are Nigerian citizens or people that are foreigners that are living in Nigeria, but get caught up in the diatribe of the activities of the manipulators and the manipulated. So you just find yourself on the road and you hear, hey, 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 then they fight. Your car is damaged. You may be stabbed. You may be robbed. You don't know who is fighting. You don't know who is fighting. You don't know why they are fighting. You don't know where the fight is coming from. And all of a sudden, you are caught within it. And before you know, your car is damaged. You are robbed. You are stabbed. You are in a stray bullet situation. And you don't even know who will come to your rescue, like in insurance, who will help you bail out your economy situation that incident has created for you. Some people's shops are robbed. Some people's houses are burned. Your business area can be burned. And nobody comes back tomorrow to say you were caught in the web as a victim and the government is going to bail you out from the crisis. You know, so if you have these three sets of people, the last portion of triangle I want to look at before I leave, so because of time, is the pre-election, during the election, and the post-election. You see, most of the things we do in pre-election is what is going on now. Friends stabbing friends, wives and husbands in the same house, stabbing one another, hatred brewing in our hearts because of our favor for one candidate or the other. We become monsters in personality. We become the enigma of the opposite of our true self, and we do things that we will end up apologizing to one another at the end. And that pre-election time is those times that I tell you that the manipulators use the manipulated against the victims, because we have identified those groups. So during the election, we expect that during the elections, what you have seen in the pre-election, so we expect communities to protect themselves. We expect youths to look at one another in the eye and say, we know the egrets and the egress of this place. We know where people can come in or go out. We know the hideouts, the uncompleted buildings, the bushes, the waterways. We know all of those things. We are the community. Can we agree to say, you know, Nigeria, what Nigeria does is the political parties sign peace accords, the politicians sign peace accords, but communities don't sign peace accords. The youths within the community must agree to say, I am APC, you are PDP, this is Labour, this is SDP. We are going to hold this community to ransom to make sure peace reigns during the election, and we are going to ensure that the election holds and votes are counted, votes are casted, and the best candidate wins. That is where we should be right now. We should be able to look at ourselves in the eye and say, we are not causing mayhem here. We are not allowing mayhem to reign here. We are going to hold ourselves to ransom. Everyone will vote for their favorable candidate, and the highest vote should count. And we are going to head up for the next year. Then, post-election, after the election, there's usually this judicial processes to upturn all the votes that have been. You saw what's happening in Osun State right now. This person is the governor. Tomorrow, this one is the governor. At the end of the day, some people are classified as Supreme Court governors. So we should look at a judicial process that will capture pre, during, and post-election evidences, beyond what INEC represents, beyond what, the judiciary is what held Donald Trump to ransom in America, that he could not build the wall and cut off Mexico. In Nigeria, the judiciary should stand up to the responsibilities of its institution. It should not allow itself to be frayed by any group of persons, should not allow itself to be compromised. So the judiciary should start, even now, to present cases that have electoral malpractices before now, thuggery and banditry and all of those things towards election, and start to educate judicial processes, quick consequences, and jurisprudence that is exactly as professional as our judiciary should be. So if you look at these 6 cloaks that I've given to you, it's a very big one, but Sting said we should sting. So we are stinging now, and we are stinging out. This is my 10 kobo. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Roy, for stinging us well. I really love the feel of the sting. Thank you so much. Because of our time, we want to go to the next speaker. Our next speaker is Mr. Oyewole. You can have the podium now, Mr. Oyewole, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be on the platform and on the forum like this. It is really a welcoming idea, and it is really what's really needed in this country, especially at this crucial time of our election. Once again, I would like to say good afternoon, everyone in the house. Once again, I'm Oyewole Abiodun Kudus by name. As I've listened to those that have spoken, first, I would like us we are talking about our roles towards this forthcoming election, and what should be our roles as citizens of this great nation. First, what is an election? An election is a process in which people vote to choose a person or group of people to hold an official position. Am I right? And by doing this, I will like to talk more about we, the citizens, not the so-called government or the people in the hands of affairs of our government, because I do tell people we are the government. There is no government anywhere. And as my other colleagues that have spoken, I have the privilege of leaving this country to the Western world, and I lived there for years. I schooled there as well. That gives me insight to what is happening in another world, how they do things, what we don't really know, especially in Africa, Nigeria, in our land there. And the people over there, especially our so-called, the one we so-called the whites, how we portray ourselves, how they portray us. First, what is our role as a citizen? towards the forthcoming election. As the situation we find ourselves in this country now, we are in a very crucial situation here in Nigeria now. It is the time, as some people have said, it is that time to make it or man. And I believe I'm a Pan-African, I'm a Pan-Nigerian man to the core. And we said this is part of what really brings me back to the country, because I so much believe in this country, and I believe things will surely turn out to be good. And we've been having so many things going on. And I have seen it as we said at the pre-election, during election, and after election. What are our role before the elections as a citizen? As my other colleague has said, the first thing is to make sure that we have our PVC, which is our right to vote. Once you are matured from 18 and above. How many of us has this? One. And those of us that even have this PVC, how many of us are ready to go out on an election day to go and cast our votes? As we all know, election is not about the winning team, it's about your conscience. You vote for your conscience. You vote for who you believe in. In all over the world, no election is free and fair. Quote me. No election in the world is free and fair. There is always a rigging. There is always some kind of a thing that comes up. So the kind of a rigging that comes up is in the Western world happens to be a technological rigging, of which our known has become an analog one by sending the talks to our opponents. When you look at what is going on the social media, especially in Nigeria, because our election, when you check what happened in 2016, pre-election, to what happens in 2019, pre-election, and what is happening now, I can tell you, see that the things have really changed seriously. 2019 is more of a journalism. I mean, 2015. And then when you look at 2019, it's totally different from what you're having now. And 2023 is more of a social media of the thing. And I do tell people that we are the problem of ourselves. I said, when we look back to the 1960s up to now, when we look at the people that has been governing us from the top to the down, when we put all of them together, I don't think they are up to 2 local governments in Nigeria. Am I communicating?
Yes.
And by doing this, when you look at the other local governments, what have they been able to do better? Why are we still complaining till now? And whether we like it or not, we have the opportunity, we have the chances of choosing another set of people, either by election or by selection. Nothing has been done correctly. We also complain as well. Let us take the recent new Naira note as an example. The CBN for the past 3 months has been talking about this. But now that this thing will come to an end, if not for the extension, by 31st of this month, you will see the agony, you see the stress that people are going through. And I do ask people, the CBN claimed that they printed more money. They've printed more than what we have in circulation by giving it to the banks. Where were all this money went? Who hold on to this money that denies the populace to have access to it? Is it the same the government that hold on to the money? Because we love to shift blames on the government. That is us. Nobody ready to take a blame, not even in our household. When something happens, we love to shift the blame to somebody or to somewhere else. Now, thank God it has been postponed for another 10 days. Even if CBN postponed this to the 31st of December 2023, by the time this thing is coming to, you still see people lamenting. That is human being for you. That was how we've turned ourselves to. Now back to our discussion. The election is coming up. This is our future. This is what we need to do. We need to take it seriously. It goes beyond the social media. It goes beyond the discussion. It goes beyond the argument like this. We need to sit down, check ourselves, if truly we really want this country to work. As they do say, talk is cheap. We can talk from now till the kingdom comes. If you don't put machineries, if you don't do things right, you will not get it right. With my findings, we've discovered that there's some of us, even on election day, that's why we're supposed, to go out and exercise our rights. That will be the time that we play football on our streets. That is the day that some of us that do usually live on, some of us, those of us that live in Lagos, that we left home 4 a.m., 3 a.m., and we return back late in the night. That is the day that we live, to be rejoicing with our family instead of going out and exercise our rights. And they will be the one to come out and start complaining about the government. And then they do say, especially we elites, I do say we are the problem of this country. We elites are the problems of this country. When something didn't favor us, we have access to all the machineries to go online, and they're criticizing everything. And those market women, those area boys, they were not informed. It is whatever they had from us, and they take it to Jupiter. What have you been able to do in order to change the scenario, to change the story this time around? You've seen so many agitations. IPOB is clamoring for or whatever, and then you can see the Yoruba nations as well. Likewise, the Arewa are clamoring for. Is this what we need? And I say no. If you say Nigeria should break, look at each ethnic. Don't you have issues there? I'm a core Yoruba man, and I can tell you 1 or 2 history about the Yoruba land. Even within the Yoruba land, before the advent of the English people back into our land, we know how some kings, how they rose against the others, sending their warlords to go and invade the other towns. Is that what we're going to go back to? Because when we started seeing Igbo man as not my brother, we started seeing Hausa man as not my brother. What about we ourselves? Have we changed ourselves? What have we been able to do differently in this country? The election is coming. We can abuse ourselves on social media. We can sit down at the corner of our rooms to write whatever we like, both fake news, fallacies, and this and posterity. And by the time this thing goes online, you know how it works. Yeah. As a post-election, just like Mr. IB just finished saying, we saw what happens in our show just a few days ago. Although it's not new, this thing has happened in Nemo, of which the tribunal sacked one, while you see the protests. Have you prepared for all this? There is no how we won't have this. By the time any one of you heard that we are now a family, that yes, Icon, you are now the commissioner to so governors. Even my family, they will not tell me, yes, brother, go there, go and do the right thing. It will be, it's your turn. You have to make sure they are teaching me how to go there and embezzle, how to go there and be a corrupt man. And then it is the same set of people that are complaining in our society that they are not doing it well. By the time I started going, I got there and they started embracing this and giving it to them because they can get this benefit for me. They won't talk. By the time others now did it to them, they started complaining about the government. It's the government that is doing this. You saw what is happening with our fuel now. You have the crude oil, you have everything. But look at where we are. Is this the issue of the government or the issue with our state? Am I seeing the next person as my brother? I'll tell you a scenario in UK. I've never seen such a thing in Nigeria. And I'm getting I have a gray hair on my head and on my beard. Just a sharp object on the floor. And the man just pick it up. I need to walk up to him. Why did you pick this? He said, no, it's going to hurt the next man coming. Here in Nigeria, we even position that object so that it can hold the next person coming. That tells you how cruel we are in this country. And then we be the one complaining. What we love to do in this country is complain. You are not ready to do the right thing. You are not ready to face it. And we don't look, in this country, we don't want to suffer for anything. We just want everything to be on, to be coming to us. You will be the one to have the money. We labor to get this money. We can have the money to buy so many things to use it now. To dispose the waste, it will be a problem for us. We'll be looking for the dark area where we can put our junks. And they will be the one to see the complaint about the government, of which the government has provided the place where we need to put all these things. The election is coming. We have the time to choose whom we believe can turn things right. Not about this person happens to be my brother, not about this person happens to be my tribe, not about this person comes from my ethnicity, but it's about, is this person capable of doing this? What is the person's track record? What has that person has been able to do? It is not about, no, he's my brother. It goes beyond this. That is what led us where we are today. Dear brothers and sisters on the platform, we are here today. We are all Nigerians. And I believe we are all clamoring for a better Nigeria. When Americans wake up in the morning, they say, God bless America. But when we wake up in Nigeria, everything we do is curse. We curse the country. And we want the country to be better. No. No. Even the holy books that you carry about, both Bible, the Quran said, we should pray for our leaders. But here we condemn them, we curse them, and we want them to do good. It is not possible. You can't eat your cake and have it. The election is coming. What have you been able? Have you prepared yourself? Have you prepared the people around you? I said to a colleague in my office just last week, she said to me, in her home, her dad happens to be a core APC man. Why the mom is clamoring for Labour Party candidate now that is becoming something else in the house? And I said, what about you? She said, no, I'm not going to cast my vote in this 2023 election. I said, why? She said, because she casted the vote for the present president. But, she's really disappointed. I said, is that the reason for you not to cast your vote again? Have you seen someone that had a motor accident on the road? Is it not the sea? Is it not the motor that they use to carry the corpse? When you fail to cast your vote again, you don't have any right to complain about whoever is there. When you say you cannot join the politics because you are an elite, you leave that politics for the idiots, for the rogues to be elected. And then you have to abide by the rules and laws made by the idiots and rogues. I think we should have gone beyond this. But I keep saying it, our problem in this country are elites. Not the market women, not the house admirers. We need to do more. We just need to do more. The election is coming, and I'm telling you this, by what I believe, this election will surely comes. Yeah, and it will be free and fair. After which, post-election. There are some states that after this general election, that is when their own elections are coming. What are we going to do to make this country better? The era of apportioning blames has gone. It is the era of an action. If you cannot find the root cause of your problem, there's no how you can get a solution to it. We need to identify our problems in this country so that we'll be able to come out with a solution to it. We have brilliant people in this country. Policy is not our problem. Our policies are perfect in this country. We are the one calling our politicians thieves. Who elected them? When they are campaigning, we are the one asking them to bring money. We are the one asking them to bring their rate, bring semo. When they go there, when did the politicians want to start an organization? Are we not telling them to go there to go and embezzle? But when this thing started, we be the one to start grumbling. Dear brothers and sisters, I would like to put a stop to it now so that I can give others a chance to talk. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oyewole, for your presentation. I know we have been learning something new today and increasing on our knowledge and our expectation for the new government that will be coming in May 29, 2003. We have people on the WhatsApp platform who have been following us. We have over 100 participants following us there. We will kindly want them to start preparing their questions and their contribution in writing. Then we have people who are on the Zoom platform also, which would like to contribute or ask one or two questions. But before we take questions and contribution, we will want Dr. Emmanuel Olumuji to serve as our rapporteur to summarize what all the four speakers have spoken. We want to also apologize for the absence of one of the speakers, Mr. Executioner, who took permission not to be able because of some unforeseen circumstances, like we say in our nation, Nigeria here. When you are boarding a flight and they want to delay you, they always tell you for operational reasons. And when you ask them which operational reason, they will always tell you unforeseen circumstances. So due to unforeseen circumstances, Mr. Executioner is not with us this evening. But we want to invite Dr. Emmanuel Olumuji to quickly give us a summary of what all the presenters have said before we now start taking contribution from all participants. Dr. Olumuji.
Okay, thank you very much. It has been a wonderful day, and the speakers have really touched on issues. The first speaker actually tried to open our eyes to our nation, Nigeria, and the current state of things. And he said that the choice of leaders largely depends on the voting pattern of the citizen. So we are the one getting the kind of leaders that we deserve, and we need to do the right thing. And one of such is to get our PVC, our voters card, ready. And he also decried the state of insecurity in our country, which has disenfranchised, or which will disenfranchise a lot of people, because it's most likely that areas, zones, communities where there is insecurity, voting may not likely take place in those places. So there is need to do the needful. And finally, we need to make Nigeria work, which is a collective responsibility. The second speaker, Mr. Ibirunke Kolawole, did say that developing and developed nations are all prone to election and post-election violence. And he actually commended INEC for transparency and objectivity so far, and the neutrality of the president in the whole politicking so far. The geographical spread of the reporters is also something noteworthy of. in determining who becomes the next president of the country. And it's everyone's responsibility to have a good government, both state and non-state actors alike. Ambassador Roy was very punchy and loaded. Manipulation along religious, ethnics, and other attractions. And all this is done to the benefits of the manipulators. And there is a need for fact checking. Anytime we get stories, we get news, there's a need to fact check. And these manipulators, disguised in form of cultist group of, they now employ cultism, use extremism in religious ideology. And even the unions are not spared in this matter, because the unions are now easily manipulated to the favor of the manipulators. Victims, and who are the victims in all this? They are the citizens who are caught in the web of the manipulator. As such, pre-election, election, and post-election are all crucial time for us to take notes. The last speaker, Mr. Oyewole, started by telling us the true definition of what an election is. And it did mention that election world over, it's not really fair. So it just appears as though it is free and fair, but there is one form of manipulation somewhere. And people are not naturally proactive, especially to government calls and policies. Election goes beyond the social media. We need to take the bull by the horn. We need to be united to put good governments in place. In the words of Mr. Oyewole also, he said we need to be our brother's keeper, stop the complaint, do the right thing. And Nigeria is not short of policy, we are only short of implementation. Thank you very much. I think that's a brief of the speakers.
Thank you, Doctor, for that brief. I think that summarizes what all the speakers have said. I just want to pinpoint one or two key salient points here. From Kobodo Taiwo, he talked about the benefits of the election. Having one of the hope we should be expecting is that we want everybody to enjoy good governance. That is one of the hope for 2023 election. Everyone to enjoy good governance and being accountable. He mentioned the National Assembly with big packages that will not always be good to development, is just for their own personal development. So we are looking forward to a governance structure that will be able to really review the package of the packages of the National Assembly members. And Mr. Ibikunle also talked about hope, which he made a statement which I took very serious. He said this 2023 preparation for election, it has become a catalyst for national security. And what does it mean there? He said most of those agitating for one division or the other suddenly stopped and focused more on politics, which is a very good one. And he also emphasized that we are looking for a leader that is good in all sectors, not to be good in politics and not good in economy, or good in economy and not good in politics. So we are looking towards a leader that is good in all sectors. While Ambassador Roy, I've just talked about the levels of the different level of manipulation that have been going. That's the manipulators and those being manipulated. And he made mention of something. He talked about the social media has been used as a platform to manipulate the public, and which so many of us on this platform this evening, we really attest to, you know. And finally, Mr. Oyewole talked about that we do not believe in the breakup of the nation. All we want is what is us to speak positively and not negatively at every point in time. Thank you very much. We once again want to appreciate all the 4 speakers for making our time. Now is the time for the participants, where we'll be giving each participant or those that want to say something, either to contribute or to ask questions, 1 minute each. The participant from the Zoom platform, and once we get a contribution from the WhatsApp platform, we'll be reading it out so that those on the Zoom platform can also follow us. So the floor is now open for the participant on the Zoom platform. If you have a contribution to make towards this national discourse or a question you want to ask, just signify by raising up your hand and we'll call you up. Thank you. Anyone?
Yes.
Any of our participants? Okay. Please, we want to know your name, please, and you can go on with your question. Yes.
Am I recognized? Hello?
Hello, we are with you. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, good evening.
Prof, go ahead, sir. Good
evening, sir. Distinguished speakers, I want to first appreciate all those that have spoken, including Ambassador Roy, who is always on the forefront of curbing security and telling them about security architecture in the country. He's always speaking, and I've been telling him that, look, this is our country. It's already hijacked by evil people, the cabals. What can we do so that we'll be able to pull out all these bad cabals that have taken over this country? The NAS, the politicians that are not also NAS are filled with so many evil practices, and they are not allowing the youth to come up and take position. What can we do so that we'll be able to displace them and bring in the good people? Because the good people that can really take charge of this country, will they allow them if they win? The INEC, do you think they are doing the best thing? They are not. If they are really doing the best, why is election in Osun? Today is upturned. Today this one is a winner. If you have done your job well, if I'm in position of INEC chairman, once we declare somebody a winner, there is no way that you see any loophole. So the INEC, they are not doing their job. How many forensic experts do you have in the INEC? How many cases have you seen in the court that so many people printed or election offensive? How many people have been charged to court? What of restructuring? If this country is not restructured and constitution is not changed, we remain in the same place, this illegal marriage of Nigeria. But if there is a restructuring on these cabals and the NAS increasing their salary every day, are they working more than army veterans? Are they working more than soldiers? Are they working more than the police officers? Are they working more than the Navy? Why must their salary be higher than civil servants, higher than policemen, soldiers? These are the evil because they have put themselves in a very courteous manner so that nobody can overtake them. What do we do to correct this issue? These are the problems. When Ambassador Roy was moving from one place, talking to them, I said, would they listen to you? If we are unable to shake the table, if we are unable to change them, if the right person win now, they won't declare him as winner. They won't bring him in. Okay, what are people that will be coming from Niger to come and vote? How do we check it? What are people that will be coming from Chad? People that will be coming from other countries. There are a lot of manipulations that will be done in the north. A
More
lot
than
of
1 minute.
manipulation.
More than 1 minute, Joe.
Yeah,
Okay.
Professor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
As a security
We-
expert and forensic expert and the
we
university
have-
lecturer, there's a lot of points.
We appreciate you for this, sir. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank
I can see the hand of Mr. Agbemileke up. Mr.
Yes,
Agbemileke,
yes,
you
sir.
have the floor, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. Good evening this evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
I really appreciate all the presenters. They are wonderful. I want to contribute to the position of the last speaker that the electorate too are the problem of the country, because it is only in Nigeria that somebody will be elected as a governor or as a House of Assembly that we all jubilate. We all sing praises and go and worship in the churches and mosques. What are we celebrating? Opportunity have come for us to participate in sharing the cake of Nigeria. Until we separate rulership or leadership from relationship, it will be very difficult for us. Because if we have the best candidate that is at the position of responsibility, the family, the friends, everybody will be looking for a way to ensure that the country resources enter their pocket. That is one of our problems. Not only the leaders, we that they are leading to have problem. Until we remove our mindset that I must benefit from my brother because he's the governor, I must benefit from my brother because he's a local government chairman, it will be very difficult for the country to move forward. That's my position, sir. That's my contribution. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that, sir. We appreciate you. I want to take from the WhatsApp platform, and the first contribution here and question says, thanks to all our resource scholars. God bless you all. I keenly listen to all your presentations. They are full of truth. But since the First Republic till this present dispensation, I don't believe Nigerians had enjoyed any democratic dividend. Does it mean Nigeria lacks wise people, wise good leaders, or we are entrained by our elites? I only want to ask that governance since our independence till now is it as a result of bad politicking or ineffective policies? Number two, we don't want a reoccurrence of Operation Wet E that happened during 1964 election or post-election violence of 1979 or that of 1983. How do we achieve that? Three, the issue of ballot box hijacking during election. How do we curb that? And lastly, it says security of ad hoc staffs, electorates, and law enforcement agency. What are in place to achieve this by the government? We always want you to send us your name as you ask question. And the second question here says, coming from Mr. Agbola, he says, coming election, is it going to be peaceful or not? This is a question for our speakers to answer. Okay, I think those two questions, any of our speakers can come on the platform and respond to this or answer the questions. Thank you. Any of our speakers, please.
Okay.
Hello.
Thank you very much. I got the first question. I don't know. Can you repeat the questions again?
Okay, let me repeat the question. The question is so long. It's the first question. The first person here says, the person was asking 4 questions, 4 in 1. He says, does it mean Nigerians lack wise, good leaders, or are we estranged by our elites? That's number 1. Number 2 question by the same person says, we don't want a reoccurrence of Operation Wet E that happened during 1964 election or post-election violence of 1979 or that of 1983. How do we achieve that? That means we don't want this election violence that happened in. How can we achieve that there will be no election violence? Then number 3 question, still by the same person, says the issue of ballot box hijacking during election. How do we curb it? And lastly, the person asked that what are the measures that have been put in place to safeguard adult staff, electorate, and law enforcement during election by the government. That's the first part. Then another participant, Mr. Agbola, asked his own question. He said, coming election, is it going to be peaceful or not? So those are the two participants that sent in their question.
Let me try to run through now. The first part of it that he said is it that we lack leaders? Now, yes. Nigeria do not lack leaders. If you go to the global atmosphere, all of the jubilation, discoveries, all of the breakthroughs in science, in military, you will be shocked that there are Nigerians that champion military vessels in the US. You know, so we don't lack leaders. What we lack is a selection process. You know, we don't have selection processes with integrity. You know, people are constrained and kept behind the bars by freebies, by all of those cultism we mentioned about, by being manipulated by a set of manipulators, you know. So the results in our selections do not pick the best, especially towards our predicament and our situation in a trajectory to gain solutions. You know, so our selection process for that. Then let us look at the issue of the snatching of ballot boxes. We have been told that the beavers will be able to transmit election results immediately from locations. We have been told that it doesn't need data, it doesn't need network, that it is unanimous to itself. We have been told that once it transmits results to INEC, INEC will immediately begin to count. And we have been told that when we get to the venue, we should make sure the beavers are reading 000 before they start the election. So for ballot box snatching, that is the solution that was preferred. But I have gone forward to say in my presentation that communities must build resilience. In my community, I know where people will pass to come in. I know where people will hide and be armed and be ready to cause mayhem. So communities should start talking to themselves that if I'm PDP, you are APC. Let's create peace so everybody will vote and the best person will win. You know, if we can do that, we can come together and say no armed groups can come in here to cause mayhem. Then he talked about peaceful election processes. I think, no, the third one. Can you give me the third one? I missed the third one.
The third one, he talked about, he asked that the issue of ballot box hijacking during election.
No, I've answered that one. I've answered that. So the fourth one.
Okay. Yes, the last one is security of adult staff, electorate, and law enforcement.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Are in place to achieve this by the government?
Yes, in series of presentations I've done in Wazobia TV, Channels TV, Arise TV, Silverbird TV. I think that's about 5 with like 3 other radio stations. I have said it that the security structure in INEC is already faulty. We should not see a situation where the head of INEC comes out to be engaging with security agencies. Okay, if I am a DPO and a retired police officer or a military officer or DSS officer, for example, is the regional head of security for INEC in the area where I am, and he's telling me, bring 10 men, deploy them like this, I will be sure that I do that because I don't want trouble for myself. Because I know that I'm talking to someone, you know, in Nigeria, we laugh over this. We say, I'm speaking in the language that you will understand. You know, because I'm an agency person, you are an agency person. The other area of default is this money that is supposed to be for the welfare of the police officers, the NSCDC officers. Some critical areas, we use military, we use Navy for some riverine areas. The welfare channel must be monitored to make sure it gets to the people that are supposed to receive it, that take the risk to protect the INEC staff, the INEC processes, and the civilian component. So if we don't look at the proper manpower, because some people tell me, I've met police officers, I integrate, I interface with all agencies. When a police team is supposed to be 20 deployed to a place, money is released for 20 men. You will see they will deploy 5. And even those 5 police they will deploy, they will still cheat them in the money after you have cheated them in manpower. You see, some of the things we do will not get to heaven. You know, because when you leave 5 people to man a location where 20 police officers is even shaky, they may not achieve all the results, but because we don't have enough men, you not send 5. And that 5, you not pay them less. And you just believe that you are enjoying. You know, so we must make sure we follow through with the structure in INEC, put round pegs in round hole, and make sure our armed forces, police officers that are deployed are well taken care of. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Then we also have another question that talked about the coming election. Person is asking, Mr. Agbola is asking that, is it going to be peaceful or not?
Yes, I want to come up in that
speaker can respond.
I wanted to come up in
sir.
that angle.
Go ahead. Your name, sir?
Yeah, my name is Professor Michael Nwokolo.
Okay, Prof.
Yes, as a senior police officer retired, I've experienced so many things in election. Starting from the last speaker, Dr. Roy. You see, the highest amount I've received during election is 5,000. As a senior police officer, 5,000. One of the earlier elections, I was paid just 2,500. The last one, 5,000. With this, do you think police will work very well? No, just as the last speaker has spoken. We are not going to rule out friction. We are not going to rule out ballot box snatching. It is sure. It must happen. All right. I was at the waterside the last election. The last election in Ogun State. They call it any station. If you cannot win, what do you think you can do? That is where election will be manipulated. That's where the local people will fight among themselves. So you will not rule it out. You will not rule it out. Places in Lagos, like Ajegule, you will not rule snatching of buses and fighting. And there is Ikota, one area is Ikota Ilasamaja. You cannot rule ballot box.
Yes, Prof.
Yes,
I just want you to quickly also respond to the question Mr. Agbola asked, that is the coming election going to be peaceful or not? Is it going to be peaceful?
How will it be peaceful? How will it be peaceful when they have all started attacking themselves? How will it be peaceful? I don't know how much police officers and soldiers that they will release to make it more peaceful. If the number of soldiers and policemen and other agencies, if they are not much, they will not be able to curb the violence. It's not going to be peaceful. Take it or leave it.
Okay,
it is not going to be peaceful. And
right.
In addition to this, so many places there will not be election. If you call me, I will tell you those areas. So many places there will not be election.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof.
Yeah, God bless.
Thank you very much. I want to quickly take a contribution from Mr. David Akpan, aka Davina. He's writing from the WhatsApp platform. It says, top of the evening to great minds that are concerned about the future of our dear nation, Nigeria. One, my concern is geared towards our security agencies. How prepared are they towards the forthcoming elections? Are they going there to make money like we know them to do in the past? Or are they Nigerians ready to bring about a positive change for the betterment of our country by ensuring that ballot box snatching is stopped in its entirety. Well, I want to quickly chip in there. I don't think there's any evidence that our security agencies go for election duty to make money, but they are there to perform their responsibility. I continue with your contribution, sir. What is government putting in place to ensure that their safety and welfare is well taken care of, so that they will not be tempted to fall into temptation of neglecting their duties and going for what will keep their homes and family running? And lastly, he says the judiciary is another area that Ambassador Ross spoke about. I know of a case in particular that has been running since 2012 and is still running. This will come to you as a shock. It has not gotten into hearing yet. I do hope that the incoming government will sanitize the judiciary and ensure that the purpose for which this boss was established, which he is the last hope of the common man, is achieved. Thank you very much, Mr. David. We'll quickly take one or two contributions also on our Zoom platform. This is from Oppo CPH22364. He says, I want to thank all the presenter and the organizer of this platform. One thing I want to contribute is to find a way to reach out to the manipulated, reminding them that we are brother and sister that gone through Boko Haram and fuel and hike ongoing. Okay, I think I got that right. Then from another contributor, thanks so much all the speakers. What do you think we can do to place all the political office holders on minimum wage, sir? I feel if we do this one, most people will not go into politics again once we can place them on minimum wage, you know. So I want to also, okay.
That would be a very good solution.
Very, very good solution, sir. Because once you don't make the place too attractive for them financially, then everybody will know that they are going there for service. Yes. And he still continues to say, youth, we must therefore find a means to go about on how to counter their act by revisiting Chris, traditional ruler and other places where people can be reached and tutor them on how to resist this kind of people. Well, I think we should also look at the contribution of our traditional institution, our traditional ruler. I want us to we are really running out of time, but let's take a contribution from Pastor Emma. I can see your hand. We want to take your contribution for 1 minute because we have to start rounding up. Pastor Emma, sir.
Yeah, my contribution is question.
Pastor Emma.
I'm coming. Hello.
Hello, sir.
My own is that someone asked question last time and say, how can we checkmate those people that will be voting outside Nigeria, like the people from Niger? Say, what are the modality? People have not given answer to that. And in some of the area in Delta State here, in election day, you see people, they bring gun they discover the area there is a peaceful, and maybe their opponent that is winning. They will bring gun to cause confusion. And the truth of the matter, we should not cover up. We see situation whereby the ruling party, they will pay even the people, the agent, and what's so called the policemen, everyone in your presence, they will be offering people money. In the presence of police, there's nothing you can do. And if you try to interfere, they might chase you out of the environment. So what are the things that should be the government have put in place to avoid all these things. Like that our daddy have rightly said, this election, we need prayer and at the same time, because the truth of the matter, we have seen people, they have not started election, but they are killing people. Some area, you cannot even go and put your poster there. So what are the things the INEC, are they really telling us the truth? Because there is one thing to be saying something, other thing. They should have hidden agenda.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I think we have taken the contribution from Mr. Raymond Idozele. We have taken that. As we are winding down, we want a contribution. We want to give Mr. Isaac. Mr. Isaac, are you on the Are you still on the platform? Mr. Isaac Otomwe, my guy, I want you to say something. We want your professional contribution too, please. Mr. Isaac. Otomwe, Mr. Isaac Otomwe. Is it there? Okay, as like Mr. Isaac is far away. Okay, Mr. Shuaibu Danjuma, please go ahead. The floor is yours, Mr. Shuaibu Danjuma.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I want to appreciate all the speakers, the presenters, disciplines. Your presentations is quite inspiring. Just to be very snappy, I just want to know, how do we get things right, particularly the forthcoming general elections? How do we, I mean, looking at what is happening, and each scenario was just painted
Mr.
out.
Shuaibu, we can't get you.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, I just want to be very snappy with my question because of the time factors. My question is, how do we ensure the credibilities of the forthcoming elections, considering the fact that so many things is happening now? Look at the scenarios that were just recently painted out in Ondo State. When the initial election was the winner was declared, and at the end of the day, we now came to realize that there are some flaws here and there on those things. So my question, how do you ensure the credibility of the forthcoming election? And then the second question is, where did we got it right? Where did we got it wrong in our electoral processes? Because a lot of speakers have said, and then of course we are living witness where Nigeria citizens overseas and all those things are very wonderful in their field of endeavors, but back home, where did we got it wrong and where did we get it right? What are some of those things that that led us to this point of departure? Where did we got it wrong? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shebu. Where did we get it wrong? Because of our time, we want to allow one of our speakers, Ekobodo Taiwo, to speak. After then, okay, we have Mr. Fred. Okay, we'll take a contribution from Mr. Ekobodo Taiwo. Then after then, we'll take from Mr. Fred and we'll be winding down for the day. The floor is yours, sir. Ekobodo Taiwo, sir. Ekobodo Taiwo, sir. Ekobodo Taiwo, sir. Is it there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. I just, all these questions that we are asking and the doubt we are raising is very legitimate. But then I want us to also think about this aspect. We are Nigerians. And like the last person that asked the question say, where did we get it wrong? Where did we get it wrong? It's a question that should agitate our minds. I know a lot of people have lost hope in Nigeria. A lot of Nigerians, they have lost hope in Nigeria, even those who stay in Nigeria. But you see, when will there be ballot hijacking? They have rightly said it. It will come. Will there be attempt to rig? Yes, it will come.
It must come.
Yes, in spite of all this, what we are saying is that we will still be able to cast that election, conduct that election, and we'll be able to come up with a credible result. Not too much. These beavers and IREF that they are talking about would help, because these beavers, the idea is immediately they are casting. Once they have done it, your name enters the computer. It's an electronic equipment. Once the place is counted and they have loaded it on the beavers, it does not matter. You can carry the ballot box and go and eat it. It's your business. But if they have not done that before they come and hijack it, that would be a problem. So there is still a problem that if that is not quickly done, the result may not be credible. But then let us know this for sure, like one of the speakers said, all these things you cannot rule it out. But on the average, definitely the election must hold and the result will come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. The election will hold and the results will come. Thank you very much, sir. Lastly, we want to take a contribution from Mr. Friday. Mr. Friday, the floor is yours, sir.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Thanks to all speakers. I want to respond to the question our professional colleagues asked, where do we get it wrong? We got it wrong from the onset. From the onset, in the sense that, I still have to go back to my question. Until we place all these political office holders on minimum wage and make their office less viable, economically, financially, we can never get it right. Secondly, we need to amend our constitution to ensure that all these political officer holders, they are placed on minimum wage and let it be reflected in our constitution. That is where we got it wrong. And when the office is less viable, less politically attractive, people who are credible with impeccable character, they will come out and lead the nation. The country is, people are suffering. I told them that they will go to extend this another issue. Therefore, yesterday, because what I was, when I analyzed that, there will be problem but on that date they gave. Then we need to, there are a lot of things need to be done. That is my contribution. We got it wrong from that angle. Our constitution is not representing us. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Friday. Our constitution is not representing us. I want to believe that our constitution is representing us, but we have also failed to make sure that the constitution represents us better. If we go on and on in this discourse, I know we are not going to end today, but because of our time, and I know we have noble and honorable men on this platform that have joined us today, we want to use this opportunity to thank all our speakers for making our time to be part of this the national discourse. We also want to thank all our participants, those on the Zoom platform, those on the WhatsApp platform, those that joined and listened via the YouTube platform, and even the Telegram platform. We really want to appreciate every one of you for your time. One thing I know is that we will continue to interrogate this particular discourse or subject until after the election. And I always tell people something. I say, see, we have 90 million registered voters, but I can tell you that those that are going to vote at the end of the day will not be more than 45 million out of the 90 million registered voters. I can tell you without any iota of doubt. Most people that are even clamoring on social media, you will realize that many of them might not even go to the polling booth on that day. But remember, 2023 election, what hope for our nation? What hope for Nigeria? We know now that we have high expectation after the election for the incoming president come May 29th. And we should also know that we, the citizens, have a role to play once we desire good governance in our own little enclave. How often do we even do the right thing? Do we just blame those in leadership position? And in our own little enclave, we even do worse to people that work under us. This is a time that we need to start looking on how we can contribute our own quota to the Nigerian agenda. Remember, in other Western countries, they emphasize more, talking more positively about their nation. Do we just condemn everything about the government on a daily basis, even when we see that the government is trying to provide infrastructure? Like we look at what has happened of recent in the rail sector, the transportation sector, looking at critically the rail sector, where people go to steal sensitive parts on the rail line, and we have rails derailing. That should be part of our responsibility as people looking for a better Nigeria. We should also play our own role as citizens. And I want to know that as we go ahead on our various platforms, we should know that Think Secured Academy is a training and research academy that will bring in up security and safety trainings very soon. We want you to be part of those trainings, and that will better your personal security, your personal safety, and generally contribute to the safety and of our nation. I want to thank you for being part of this discourse this evening, and I believe that as we go back, as we log out, and we start to reflect on the expectation for 2023 after the election, we are not just looking on making enemies, but looking on how we can get it right, and we will surely get it right. Remember, 2023 is a catalyst for national security, where good governance is number one, where we expect that accountability should reign supreme. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Have a great weekend. I mean, have a great week ahead.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.